He fired the coaches. He hired the legends. He sued the Falcons. And Tony Rizzo has seen enough. This morning, the legend of Cleveland radio didn't celebrate the drama. He condemned it. Rizzo went nuclear on owner Jimmy Haslam, accusing him of using Shedeur Sanders as a toy rather than a quarterback. He shouted, "Jimmy, look at me. You are screaming about sabotage. You are the sabotage. You have created a circus so big that this kid can't even focus on reading a defense. You think buying Dion and suing Arthur Blank fixes this? You are making us the laughingstock of the league again." Rizzo ended the segment with a dark prediction about what happens if Haslam doesn't calm down by training camp. I have the clip where Rizzo predicts Shedeur will demand a trade before the season starts if this chaos continues. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. If you agree with Riz, click that button. Let's hear the prediction. Here is the moment the city realized the owner is out of control.
I want to know how much longer the owner's going to watch this crap. Because the fans have had it. We deserve better. You're worried more about your stadium than you are your football team. That's the perception, Jimmy. Teams are hiring. The Falcons got their coach. The Titans hired. They're hiring all these coaches. What is taking so long? The Browns have been working on this for 3 weeks. What's going on? Is Andrew really running this, or is Jimmy using Andrew to do what he wants to do, the owner? That's a legitimate question. We've seen the meddling in the past. Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites? People keep going, who do you want? Who do you like? Who do you want? I don't know. Folks, I don't know. I just know this. I don't like the process already. I don't. I don't. Do you have to keep Jim Schwartz? Do you not have to keep Jim Schwartz? Is he really in play for head coach, or is this just they want him around as a DC? Is he really that valuable? I don't.
I want to know how much longer the owner is going to watch this, because the fans have had it. The Cleveland Browns are officially imploding again. While the rest of the NFL is making decisive moves, hiring championship-caliber coaches, and building for the future, the Browns are doing what they do best: overthinking, meddling, and setting themselves up for another spectacular failure. Tony Rizzo, the voice of Cleveland sports radio, has finally had enough. And frankly, he's right. We are watching a franchise paralyzed by its own dysfunction. The Falcons have their coach. The Titans have their coach. Even the Browns' former coach, Kevin Stefanski, has already landed a new job. Yet Cleveland is sitting in the corner, 3 weeks into a search, with absolutely nothing to show for it. But the delay isn't even the scary part. The scary part is who is actually pulling the strings behind the scenes.
9 years you can't get to the Super Bowl. Got a problem with that?
I don't.
I don't either.
Let's set the scene, because the contrast is embarrassing. 10 NFL teams needed head coaches this offseason. It has been a feeding frenzy. Teams are scrambling to secure the brightest offensive minds to fix their franchises. Jeff Hafley went to the Dolphins. Jim Harbaugh is trying to save the Giants. And in the ultimate slap in the face, Kevin Stefanski, the guy Cleveland just fired, was immediately snatched up by the Atlanta Falcons. The league clearly respects Stefanski more than the team that just fired him. Meanwhile, the Browns are still conducting interviews. They are caught in a loop of indecision. Rizzo didn't mince words. What is taking so long? In the NFL, if you aren't first, you're last. While other teams are building staffs and installing playbooks, Cleveland is falling weeks behind. And when you look at the list of teams still searching, the Raiders, the Steelers, Cleveland isn't exactly the destination everyone is dying to go to.
You have the worst offense in the league. Your GM screwed this quarterback thing up like I've never seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it. Kids that play Madden could have done a better job.
Here is where Rizzo lit the fuse on the real problem. He asked the question every Browns fan is terrified to answer. Is GM Andrew Berea actually running this search? Or is Jimmy Haslam meddling again? Is Andrew really doing this? Or do the Haslams have their favorites? That isn't a hot take. That is a legitimate concern based on a decade of evidence. Jimmy Haslam has a history of forcing collaboration, which is just code for I own the team, So do what I say. We've seen him cycle through coaches, force roster moves, and create a culture so toxic that top candidates stop returning calls. If Haslam is hijacking this search to hire a yes man instead of the best coach, the next 5 years are already doomed.
Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites? But Chris, at one point last week, I text Chops and I go, Myles Garrett's running the coaching search. Because he wants Jim Schwartz. Right.
And speaking of meddling, let's talk about the rumor that refuses to die. Jim Schwartz. Reports are surfacing that the Browns either want to promote defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz to head coach, or, even worse, force the new coach to keep Schwartz on staff. This is organizational malpractice. Rizzo screened it perfectly. Do you have to keep Jim Schwartz? Is he really in play? Let's look at the facts. Schwartz is a solid defensive mind, but his defense just went 5-12. They lost 12 games. You do not build a championship organization by clinging to coordinators from a 5-win season. More importantly, if you tell a top-tier offensive candidate like Ben Johnson, hey, you can have the job, but you have to keep our defensive staff, they are going to hang up the phone. You are limiting your pool to desperate candidates who will accept bad conditions.
I need offense. Yes, I know all the teams, three of the four teams left are defense and defensive coaches, I get it. But you still have to have an offense. Don't overlook that. And don't poo-poo that. You need to be able to have a team that could score points anytime they touch the ball. Not 12-play drives. You got to be explosive.
This obsession with defense is completely backwards. The Browns finished 30th in points per game last season. 30th. You cannot win in the modern NFL if you cannot score. Rizzo hit the nail on the head. I need offense. You need to be able to score points. Look at the teams playing in late January. They aren't winning 13-10 slugfests. They are explosive. Yet the Browns are interviewing defensive coaches and recycling old names like Todd Monken, who already failed in Cleveland once. They are looking for toughness when they should be looking for innovation. You can have the best pass rush in the world, but if you are punting 8 times a game, you are going to lose.
Teams are hiring. The Falcons got their coach. The Titans hired. They're hiring all these coaches. What is taking so long? The Browns have been working on this for 3 weeks. What's going on?
Here is why this specific coaching search is life or death for the franchise. The Browns have a top 5 pick in the draft. Everyone knows they are targeting a quarterback, likely Shedeur Sanders. This is their chance to finally reset, to draft a franchise talent and build around him properly. But you cannot develop a rookie quarterback with a defensive-minded head coach, a meddling owner, and a patchwork offensive staff. Look at what happened to Baker Mayfield in Cleveland versus what he's doing in Tampa Bay. Structure matters. If they draft Shedeur Sanders into this chaos, they will ruin him, just like they ruined quarterbacks before him. A rookie QB needs an offensive architect, not a defensive coach who is worried about keeping his job.
I'm not going to bury Andrew Berry and Jimmy before they pick the next head coach. I think Jimmy has a lot more to do with this, folks, than y'all think. I do.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The Browns are doing it again. They are letting the owner drive. They are prioritizing the wrong side of the ball. And they are moving too slow. Tony Rizzo sees it. The fans see it. The question is, does Jimmy Haslam see it? Or are we watching the Browns fumble the next era of their franchise before it even begins?